Coming up, go inside TV's hottest sitcom and see why being out is so in. Welcome to Will and Grace Inside Out. I'm Steve Kometko. In the fall of 1998, an array of new sitcoms did their best to impress American audiences. By mid-season, many had disappeared from the TV landscape for good. One of the few shows that has endured is NBC's surprise hit Will and Grace, a situation comedy that looks at the unusual lives of best friends Will Truman and Grace Adler. Will is a successful Manhattan lawyer. Grace is a self-employed decorator. She's straight, he's gay. The show began with very little fanfare from NBC. In fact, the network never fully revealed the show's premise during its early promotional campaign. Will and Grace, after all, was the first sitcom since Ellen to feature a gay character in the title role. And many critics believed Will and Grace was destined to follow Ellen into sitcom oblivion. But as it turned out, clever writing, lovable characters, and a dream cast were more than enough to guarantee the show's survival. During the next hour, meet the people behind the popular comedy that's thrown open TV's closet door and pushed the envelope without pushing buttons.
Oh my God, here it is, perfect. Upper West Side, spacious 2-bedroom, 2-bath, fireplace.
This is great.
Hardwood floors, terrace, beautifully decorated by talented woman who hates looking for apartments, gay best friend included. Ha-ha!
Will and Grace is the story of two best friends who become roommates after both end significant romantic relationships, a unique primetime premise, considering the fact that the show never even asks the standard sitcom question, will they or won't they?
Grace, you just left the man you were going to marry. I just got out of a 7-year relationship. Why should we go through that alone? At the end of the day, I'd like to be with my best friend.
So would I.
Eric McCormick plays the newly single, emotionally guarded, and yes, gay Will Truman.
How many shows have we seen where men and women don't understand each other? This is fun to explore this from a different point of view.
Deborah Messing is the other half of this comedic cohabitation. Her character, Grace Adler, is a slightly neurotic interior decorator and Will's soulmate.
We'd both been otherwise sort of romantically occupied for years, so in many ways it's a new phase of their friendship.
And no sitcom is complete without an offbeat cast of supporting characters. Sean Hayes portrays Jack McFarland, Will's self-absorbed, extroverted friend.
Thursday night, downtown at the Duplex, be there, be blown away.
What are you talking about? You're not a performer.
I am now. Me, a piano, and a spotlight. I'm calling it Just Jack.
The script was wonderful, and I couldn't pass. I mean, any actor would be stupid to pass, so I took it.
And then there's Karen Walker, Grace's less than helpful and more than a little medicated assistant, skillfully played by Megan Mullally.
Grace, sweetie, what's that? What's that?
It's a hat, Karen. I didn't have time to dry my hair.
So what are you saying, honey? It's gonna stay on all day?
I think that Grace really loves Karen. I mean, they're really friends, you know? They really love each other.
The man calling the shots behind the camera is legendary sitcom director James Burrows.
I really liked it when I read it, and I said I'd be real interested in doing it.
A bold move for all involved, since a sitcom featuring a gay male lead character was untested territory on American TV when Will and Grace debuted in 1998. There had been gay supporting characters. In 1977, Billy Crystal broke new ground as Jody Dallas, the gay son on the popular series Soap. By the mid-1990s, sitcoms began to raise the stakes and many eyebrows. Some stations refused to air an episode of Roseanne when the title character locked lips with a lesbian played by Mariel Hemingway. But one of the most controversial characters in TV history was Ellen Morgan, the small-screen alter ego of now openly gay Ellen DeGeneres. When the actress decided to not only come out publicly, but to out her character as well, media pundits wondered if audiences would follow Ellen's new direction.
This is who I am and this is what I believe in, but for a network to say, you know, we support that, it's, you know, they kind of want to and they kind of don't want to ruffle any feathers either.
Whether it was the loss of viewers or the lack of network support, the controversy ended with the show's cancellation. Despite Ellen's demise, that show helped lay the groundwork for Will and Grace.
Of course she played a significant role and they were open to it. We didn't take some of the hits for her problems that we thought we might, you know, as we saw things start to happen for her, go in a bad direction for her. we didn't really feel that at Will and Grace.
That allowed us to introduce characters that were gay right from the beginning, that had been gay for 15 years. There was no big coming out episode. There was nothing political about it. It was just, by the way, here's 4 characters and they all want to sleep with guys.
There were other indicators on the pop culture barometer that led the show's creators to believe they had a shot at selling Will and Grace to the network brass.
As we were going over this idea, this movie came out, you know, My Best Friend's Wedding, and it did really well, and it seemed like the relationship that people were responding to was one between Rupert Everett and Julia Roberts.
I get so many letters from people saying, I'm a Will, I'm a Grace, we're a Will and Grace. He's more Jack than Will, but we're still a Will and Grace, or I'm more I mean, there are a lot of gay men, straight woman relationships out there.
My first boyfriend that I loved is totally gay now, and I live with him.
I identify with Will.
And I identify with Grace. Definitely.
Definitely.
Especially because of him. Not that we live together.
Yes,
but we could.
Yeah.
All my friends ever since childhood has been mainly females, and it just sort of maintained that as I grew up.
Gay men and straight women are bonded because it's as safe as I think any relationship can get.
With an additional 2-season pickup and an average of 15 million viewers, it's clear that Will's homosexuality is not an issue, and viewers are willing to invite this unconventional TV couple into their living rooms every week.
They've embraced what the show does, which is essentially be really, really funny and honest and not try to be political. And yet, in its own way, that is a political statement.
By doing it so simply, it has pushed the boundaries.
We actually get a lot of letters on the show as the writers and creators of the show. But I just got one from a kid that is in college in Boston, and he taped an episode that we shot for Thanksgiving about Jack coming out to his mother.
Mom, are you wearing Chloe?
Jack.
Mom, I'm gay.
And he sat his family down and he showed it to his family, and then he turned around and he told his family that he was gay. There was this wonderful acceptance that happened for him, and I really don't think you could ask for much more than that.
Honey, I think you're missing the silver lining here. When you're old and in diapers, a gay son will know how to keep you away from chiffon and backlighting.
Coming up in the show, we'll follow the production process for an entire episode from beginning to end. We'll sit in with the actors as they read the script for the first time.
Sunday is family day. It's the one day of the week I get to spend time with Stan and the kids.
We'll meet the cast members and learn how they ended up on this landmark show.
They said, okay, what do we have to do to get you to do the show?
We'll also witness the return of Molly Shannon as Grace's nemesis, Val, and find out who will win round 2.
Now I know why I'm gay.
We'll go backstage with actors Sean Hayes and Megan Mullally for some intimate moments.
He's helping me run my lines. I've got, the show starts in like an hour.
Sorry.
And coming up next, Eric McCormack speaks candidly about his new off-screen responsibility as a gay role model.
Here I am, a straight actor playing a gay role and being a voice for some community. I thought they won't accept that.
Welcome back to Will and Grace Inside Out. I'm your host, Steve Kometko. Coming up, we'll find out how Eric McCormack managed the lifestyle change from Canadian thespian to Manhattan homosexual. But first, each week the cast is presented with a new challenge to take the words off the script and make them funny on the screen. It is Wednesday morning on the soundstage where Will and Grace is taped. The cast and crew are assembling to take the first step in their week-long production process.
We on what they call a Wednesday to Tuesday schedule, so we'll start on a Wednesday, we'll read the script, and then we'll go home, which is fantastic.
Seems like a piece of cake, right? Well, according to First Assistant Director Dale White, the feedback given after the Wednesday table read is crucial to getting the script ready for taping.
They give us notes from the network. The producers sit and listen to how the performances came across from the actors.
Each episode typically involves 2 storylines. This week's main plot, the A story, includes the return of Val, Will and Grace's screwball upstairs neighbor, played by Saturday Night Live's Molly Shannon.
It's pretty much established that Grace doesn't really have a lot of girlfriends because she's always hanging out with the guys.
There isn't a gay bar in town I haven't been to with you guys. I think I just hit on why I'm alone and dateless on Saturday night.
Will sets her up on sort of a date with Val.
We become really fast and fun girlfriends.
Hello, QVC.
Hi. Yeah, I'm interested in purchasing that gorgeous Joan Rivers spider pin. It's for my conjoined twin Grace. It's her birthday, but don't tell her. It's going to be a big surprise. I heard that!
Grace rekindles a relationship with her, and then it turns out that she's a kleptomaniac and she's stealing Grace's stuff.
Val did not steal my music box. She is my friend, and I trust her.
Glad to hear it.
That's why we're going to break into her apartment and to see if it's there.
The B story for this week's episode is a bit more controversial. Jack and Karen think they've been invited to brunch, only to wind up at a meeting for an ex-gay support group.
It's sort of loosely based on these groups out there who think that they can take gay men and women and put them back on the right path by making them straight.
So my story is I find this guy who was gay, but then he's turned straight.
Don't dwell on past mistakes.
Mistakes? That's what we were, a mistake? Let me tell you something. You put the miss in mistake, lady.
There's an issue floating around this storyline, and as a result, we're having a hell of a time telling the story.
After the read-through, the producers and writers roll up their sleeves and brainstorm ideas. They have less than a day to hammer out a new and improved script for the Thursday morning rehearsal.
We get pages every day, you know, different colored pages, and they, you know, they try to make it funnier or punch it up, or the story's not working right, they'll try to tweak it. And do you see how I was so excited to get the word tweak? I said wheat, or something like that.
All of that issue stuff kind of happens on Will and Grace through the back door, so to speak. It happens, if it happens, it happens. Characters that end up saying a lot in the very kind of light stories that we're telling. You know, the show gets to stay on the air. The gay kid, he lives somewhere in the Square States, and he gets to sit and watch this show with his family and has an experience that he can understand and he can relate to.
That kid also has a character he can relate to in Will Truman, adeptly played by Eric McCormick.
I'm from Toronto, Canada. Came down here about 7 years ago or so to seek my fortune. By the time I realized that Don Adams actually made money for Get Smart, that it wasn't just something he did for fun, that's it, forget it, I'm in. I want a sitcom, I want it now.
Of course, before any actor achieves stardom, there are dues to be paid.
I have a lot of horrible menswear stories. I was not good, I was a terrible waiter, but I was also just not good at menswear. So I'm selling bad sweaters to a lot of housewives and you know, practicing dance steps behind the sock drawer.
In 1985, Eric earned a spot in an acting company, but it wasn't exactly the big time.
I worked at the Stratford Festival in Canada, Shakespeare Festival, for 5 seasons, and boosted up was like $280 a week. After that, so I was like zipping. I was high.
Still, Eric's acting career was picking up steam. He guest starred on several television shows, and in 1994, he landed the role of Colonel Mosby in the syndicated series Lonesome Dove: The Outlaw Years.
I just felt like for the first time that I was pleased with the acting I was doing.
Armed with a more impressive resume, Eric set his sights on a series of his own. Yet, when presented with the role of Will Truman, he had reservations.
Playing gay was always something, was fun, it was different, it was not something that threatened me. But knowing that this was going to be automatically political, even if we as a company didn't make it political, that the press would make it political.
For creators Max Muchnick and David Cohen, the politics of casting a straight actor in a gay role were less important than simply finding the right actor for the job.
It is hard to find really good actors who are really funny, who are attractive, who are in their 30s, you know, in their early to mid 30s. That's not a common commodity. And so it was really, who is the best?
And I knew that I would become some kind of a poster boy, that I would have to address it. Frightened me and made me, and I had to think over Christmas and New Year's, I had to think, well, I knew they wanted me for the part, and I knew I really wanted the part in my heart. I needed time. And the irony is that now, I think I've realized that that's one of my most favorite parts of the job.
Since the pilot episode, Eric's solid performance as a well-adjusted, single gay man has earned him praise from gay and straight viewers, and more importantly, from the network.
NBC has been completely supportive of this show, and the few representatives that they send down on a Friday are big fans, and we consider them friends. It's not sort of like some invasion of Suits.
With his growing sitcom success, Eric is now eyeing opportunities on the big screen.
I'd love to do a movie, but not just anything. I mean, I get smart words, smart, funny, grown-up, urbane, dialogue to say every day. So I get real picky when I start reading scripts.
Coming up next, the production moves on to the soundstage for rehearsal, and Deborah and Molly prepare for some more girl-on-girl action. Hi, I'm Steve Kometko, and you're watching Will and Grace Inside Out. Deborah Messing's career has taken her from the small stage off-Broadway to big-time television success. Coming up, we'll learn how this classically trained actress nearly turned down the role of a lifetime. But first, an award-winning TV legend calls the shots and brings another episode to life.
Action.
Veteran television director James Burrows has been a creative force behind Will and Grace from the show's earliest stages. He was drawn to the show's unique ensemble.
It was refreshing to find new, for as many shows I've done, new characters that I had not dealt with before.
And Burrows has directed some of the most memorable characters in television history, from sitcoms like The Mary Tyler Moore Show and Taxi to Friends and Frasier. He was also director and executive producer of Cheers. But despite his decades of experience, Burrows admits it takes more than great direction to ensure success.
Number one, it's the writing. Then you got to be blessed with good casting, which we were. And then you have to get on a network that's going to allow you to blossom. And all three of those things came true. Anybody can say or do anything they want on my set. There are no egos here. We're here to entertain.
You know that he cares. He's incredibly passionate. And he's like a father. I call him sort of a gentle giant.
The morning following the table read, the actors jump right into rehearsals.
We block the entire episode out as if we were going to perform it. We perform the entire thing with the script in our hand. They take notes.
Give it back to me! It's mine! It's mine! It's mine!
The results of these notes often lead to the kind of slapstick situations that remind Deborah of her early years in front of the television.
The memories that I have are so clear that I would just spend hours watching I Love Lucy, Carol Burnett, Tracy Ullman, and of course Mary Tyler Moore. And I think those four women were the most influential.
Well, there's a chain on the door.
She knew!
And scene!
Born in Brooklyn and raised in Rhode Island, Deborah had dreams of stardom from the very beginning.
I was dancing and singing pretty much before I could really walk or speak. Fame was on, the television series, and I was begging my parents to let me go be a part of Fame because, of course, it's, you know, a high school in New York, and I thought I want to dance on a taxi, you know, because who wouldn't? And but my parents said, you can dance on a taxi after you get your education.
So Deborah studied theater arts at Brandeis University and also attended London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art before earning a master's degree in acting from NYU. Not long after receiving her master's, Deborah was making movies in Hollywood.
My first job in LA was my first film, A Walk in the Clouds. And they dyed my hair this like fluorescent orange for the show, for that. And so I was meeting all these people in LA for the first time as a fluorescent orange-haired, you know, girl.
Deborah earned the role of Dana Abendondo on the popular cop drama NYPD Blue. The lead role in the Fox series Ned and Stacy quickly followed.
But as far as I'm concerned, what you did was immoral.
Unfortunately, the series was short-lived, but Deborah continued to work. She starred in the forgettable feature film McHale's Navy and took over the lead in the ABC drama Prey. Messing's busy work schedule caught up with her and almost caused her to pass up the chance of a lifetime.
I got the call about Will and Grace, and I thought, I can't even see straight. I'm so tired.
We were having a heck of a time trying to cast the part.
And then they came over, and it was 6 o'clock at night, pouring rain, a liter of vodka in one hand and a lime in the other. And they said, okay, what do we have to do to get you to do the show?
3.5 hours and countless vodka shots later, Deborah and the show's creators had a deal.
Eric had already been cast. We met, and within 5 minutes, we were just giggling and like being all goofy. And I mean, it was answered in like that. It was like, I have to do this. I have to do this.
Coming up, Sean Hayes gives us an exclusive VIP tour on the set of Will and Grace.
So nervous.
Don't be nervous. Why are you nervous?
I'm so nervous.
You're watching Will and Grace Inside Out, the E! Original Special. I'm Steve Kometko. Later on, get some design tips from the experts who make the set of Will and Grace look like the picture of good taste. But first, Sean Hayes tells us how he went from a marching band geek to just Jack.
So I've decided to take my career in a whole new direction. Forward. This guy, let me tell you.
The urban and urbane lifestyle of Sean Hayes' TV persona, Jack McFarland, is a stark contrast to his real-life suburban upbringing.
I grew up in Glen Ellen my whole life, which is a suburb of Chicago. You know, the worst that happens there is like someone's bike gets stolen or something, and there's like 20 cops, you know, looking for the bike. So it's pretty funny.
Since his tender teens, Sean has been notorious for taking center stage, even when there wasn't a stage.
I used to run in high school and have my backpack open just so, and when I reached the top of the stairs, I'd fall down and trip, and all my books would go all the way down the hall, and people would be like, "Ah, that's Sean."
But Sean's original goal didn't include a career in comedy. At Illinois State University, he studied music composition with ambitions of becoming a concert pianist.
That was my major in college, and theater was my minor. I never graduated, because I was thinking, either you can play the piano or you can't, and either you can act or you can't. Nobody cares if you have a degree.
Sean soon realized he had a gift that his fellow musicians didn't possess.
The funniest joke that the music department guys, geeks, and I was one of them, ever made was like, don't be sharp, don't be flat, just be natural. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be over in the theater department.
Sean eventually dropped out of college, and while paying his dues in the local Chicago theater scene, Sean paid the bills by hawking ottomans.
First job is I worked in a furniture store. I made long-distance phone calls to all my friends and got caught. And then I moved on to, I don't know, I thought I'd throw that in there.
After fleeing the furniture business and the Chicago suburbs for good, Sean took refuge in L.A. He landed several national commercial spots, including Bud Light, Pepsi Cola, and a memorable Doritos commercial that aired during the Super Bowl.
Ay, Chihuahua.
In 1998, Sean won his first feature film lead, playing the title role in Billy's Hollywood Screen Kiss. This star turn caught the attention of Will and Grace casting directors and subsequently landed him the breakthrough role of Just Jack.
I showed up and did the best job I could be, and then all of a sudden you get sideswiped with, hey, guess what? You guys got a really good show. Really? Wow, okay.
For Sean, portraying an openly gay character on primetime television gives him the opportunity to expose audiences to a side of life they might not be familiar with.
People are used to seeing men and women kiss on television because that's all that's thrown in your face. From the time you're an infant, of course that's all you're going to know because that's all you've ever seen. And this show, I think, is showing gay people are just as normal as anybody else.
And every normal gay male Manhattanite needs a flawless Upper West Side apartment to live in, or in Jack's case, to crash at. Sean gave us a quick look around the show set.
So nervous.
Don't be nervous. Why are you nervous?
I'm so nervous. Okay.
And he's going to give us a little tour here.
These are my friends from E! And we stopped by to say hi.
Hi! I'm Melinda Ritz. I'm the set decorator on Will and Grace.
That looks real, like those might be real people.
Well, I think they're real people.
No,
There's some very subtle phallic symbols carefully placed in this set. Just for the fun of it, I like to use lots of balls and obelisks whenever I can, in conjunction with each other.
yeah, he forgets to flash sometimes. That's kind of embarrassing. Let's move on.
And here we are in her place, and we've been here for months, and it looks the same as the day she moved in. Just like a real interior designer in life never really can get their own act together, neither can Grace. The only indication that I had for the way Val was supposed to live and the look of her apartment was from the writers, and all they said was IKEA and kitsch. She would have a lot of collections of items, like just a million crazy little items all stacked up. And Target is always handy for fun lamps.
This is really behind the scenes. These are our very, very expensive dressing rooms on the set. This would be Deborah's. Let's see. Let's see that. They spare no expense. These are Jack's clothes right here, okay? And these are Grace's, okay? Who's more important, Jack or Grace?
Can we have a few minutes alone, please?
Oh my God, we're over here.
Silly cameras in our face.
We're married, okay?
After the break, we'll hear from some impressive Will and Grace guest stars, including a dynasty diva turned dysfunctional decorator.
She has a serious eating disorder, and she's also in love with her dog.
Welcome back to Will and Grace Inside Out. I'm your host, Steve Kometko. Later in the show, I'll sit down with Megan Mullally, whose portrayal of a pill-popping socialite has provided the show with some of its more madcap moments. But first, let's meet the array of celebrity guest stars who've graced the show with their willful performances.
I'll watch the game.
What game?
Doesn't matter.
Neil Patrick Harris is a veteran of both the large and small screen. The former Doogie Howser star appeared beside Madonna and Rupert Everett in the gay man, straight woman comedy, The Next Best Thing. And in this episode of Will and Grace, Neil finds himself in another sexually complicated situation.
I play Bill, a guy that Jack's got a crush on. And it turns out that I was once gay and have straightened myself out.
Jeff, you're here. I'm proud of you. This is a really important first step. Welcome home.
I was president of an organization called Welcome Home, where I get gay people to be straight and convince them that it's a choice.
Yeah, just relax. This is part of my seminar. Physical contact between straight guys is cool, because there's nothing behind it. Right.
So Jack takes it on as a challenge to try and out me and show that I really am gay, and works his little fairy dust on me.
Go connect! Come on, let me pat yours.
And at the end, I say, oh, it's true, I can't live a lie, and I run out.
I'm resigning. Jack McFarlane is your new president. He's a far better straight man than I could ever be.
And it's a really, really good environment here.
The warmth around the Will and Grace set keeps guest stars like Saturday Night Live's Molly Shannon coming back for more.
With Molly last year, it was such a funny episode, and she was such a great time to have around. They wanted to write her in again.
So I'm playing the same character, Val, that I did before, and I live in the building. In this episode, Grace and I become friends. We start hanging out, because she's sort of lonely and I'm sort of lonely, and we're like, wanna hang out? Okay.
We become fast and furious, best friends until I suspect that she has stolen a music box of mine.
My father gave it to me for my bat mitzvah. You stole it, psycho!
Again, the cat fight, the clawing, the ripping, only this time I suspect that my shirt will not be ripped right over my breast or that my bra's sticking out. That's what happened last year. Molly Shannon is a genius. Not funny at all. It's a problem.
Do you think I swing my hips too much when I walk? I just want to say the sitcom life is grand. It's so sunny and it's like, hey, let's get a cafe mocha. It's like fancy and I love it. It's like a dream. Driving in the fancy lot and the set and the life and everybody eats like everybody's on the zone. It's so like Hollywood, California.
Another guest star in the zone is actress Shelley Morrison. Her initial guest turn as the fiery maid Rosario has developed into a recurring role.
It's nice to have security now with a contract. It's really nice.
Just the concept of this housekeeper who in every single situation is wearing her maid's uniform and is just like giving it right back to this diva.
Rosario is very smart. She gives as good as she gets.
I didn't sign on to work for a decent human being. I signed on to work with Miss Karen.
Interestingly enough, the only controversy Will and Grace has seen involved dialogue between the outspoken maid and her politically incorrect boss.
Karen, referred to Rosario as Tamale. Hey, you're on the clock, Tamale. And at which point Rosario blasts her right back. But evidently, the El Salvadoran community was up in arms about it.
The brief controversy posed a challenge for the writers to mix humor with social awareness.
And at some point, we're just going to not be able to make the jokes anymore if we have to be this careful.
The damage it did, I think, is that it diverted attention from what the problem really is. And that's where we have to get roles for Hispanics and African Americans and Asians and American Indians.
Tony Award-winning actor Gregory Hines adds diversity and additional star power to this already impressive ensemble of recurring characters.
And two, you're a superstar. That's what you are. No, look, man.
Ben Doucette is slick, very powerful, partner in the law firm Doucette and Stein. And he's very hardcore.
You're gay, and she's straight.
He sees in Will the exact associate that he needs, which is somebody with some heart, somebody with some integrity, and somebody that he can trust.
Underneath it all, I'd sell my grandmother down the river if it got me a continuance. But I have me. That's why I need you.
I have tremendous confidence in the writers that brought me here to use me to the fullest. And they're very adventurous in terms of the show. They really take a lot of chances.
But the show's creators didn't take any chances when casting the role of Grace's mother, Bobby Adler.
Swell, you'll be great. You can have the whole world on a plate.
Debbie Reynolds was like hilarious. We had to have her back.
You look gorgeous. Change the shoes.
And of course, with the renowned Debbie Reynolds playing Grace's mom, Will's dad had to be equally eminent.
It is my extreme privilege to introduce Oscar-winning director of Out of Africa, Sidney Pollack, as my father.
It's somewhere between sketch comedy in a club and theater work and movie work. And these people on this show are extraordinarily good at it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd be very happy to see me dancing on a box in a sequin tube top.
As long as you're home by 11.
Rounding out the list of recurring all-stars is former Dynasty diva, Joan Collins.
When my agent came up with this idea of doing a continuing character on Will and Grace, and I'd seen the show and I thought it was fabulous. I've done one and I'm going to do 2 or 3 more next season. Grace, enchanted to meet you.
Oh, hi.
She is considered to be the top interior decorator designer in New York, but she has a serious eating disorder, and she's also in love with her dog. And she asks that you don't touch her. They're so good. I loved watching them all, you know, and they've been working together for a year and a half, and that they really are. They blend into each other so well, and they're so innovative.
Still ahead, you've seen the sets. Now go way behind the scenes to the actors' not-so-private dressing rooms.
People are dancing and stripping, and it's just very bawdy and fabulous.
You're watching E's original special, Will and Grace, Inside Out. So far, we've seen the actors go from table read to tech rehearsal. Now it's almost time to fill the studio with an audience of 300 eager fans. But first, Megan Mullally takes us down the winding road that led her from the footlights of Broadway to the spotlights of Hollywood.
I'm gonna need you to feed the kids and read them something before bedtime. Well, I don't know, honey. Why don't you read them that book they love? Green Eggs and I'm Hammered.
It seems Megan Mullally became America's favorite primetime pill-popping, martini-swilling socialite almost overnight. But of course, there really is no such thing as an overnight success.
I was always singing and doing musicals and acting.
This Oklahoma native attended Northwestern University. After graduating, she spent 6 years working in Chicago theater and made her film debut in the 1983 teen classic, Risky Business. While the film made Tom Cruise a star, it wasn't exactly a big break for Megan.
And they gave me the role of a call girl, and I had like 3 lines, and they got cut. They all got cut. But so I'm basically just like an extra in the background.
But Megan's luck was about to change. In 1985, she packed her bags and headed to Los Angeles, where she landed the first sitcom she ever auditioned for, The Ellen Burstyn Show.
I had no idea what I was doing, and I was working with Ellen Burstyn and Elaine Stritch, who were like such pros. And they were so nice to me. They were so patient with me.
During the next 10 years, Megan landed guest roles on a variety of series, including Seinfeld and Just Shoot Me. She made it to Broadway, appearing in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, playing opposite Matthew Broderick and later John Stamos. But it was her move back to Los Angeles that led to the breakout role of a lifetime.
I went in and auditioned for the role of Grace and made not any impression at all whatsoever, apparently, because About 3 weeks later, I got a call, oh, they want you to audition for Will and Grace. I'm like, I auditioned for Will and Grace. They're like, no, they want you to audition for the role of the secretary.
When Megan returned, co-creator Max Muchnick had no idea what he was in for.
And he goes, hey, we're going to test you, but when you come back, wear something a little more Madison Avenue. So I didn't have anything good, and so I wore big punker, like black platform boots, like really bad, like Frankenstein boots, and this skirt that I had cut off myself that wasn't even hemmed. I just cut it off with a pair of scissors, and a t-shirt, and she's jacket for my network audition. It was the fanciest I could do.
What's great about Megan is that, you know, she's so unlike the character that she plays on the show. She's more blasé, she's laid back.
On a more personal note, during an interview with The Advocate, a national gay and lesbian news magazine, the 41-year-old bombshell boldly discussed her own bisexuality.
I do believe that everybody's innately bisexual. In spiritual terms, I think it's kind of it's a basic, and I don't, that's just part of my belief system.
Megan is most at ease doing what she loves, and having chemistry with her co-stars makes life even sweeter.
Shauna and I had it right away, and the whole cast had it, but now it's really we've all come into our own with each other. Like every combination of the four of us is so strong, and we all just laugh all day long, and we're just like naughty and juvenile, and it's great.
You can't come on this set without being molested. It's just what we do. We're just a very touchy-feely, silly group of people.
Let a cycle or two go by.
You didn't think I'd go with it, did you? You totally didn't think I'd go with that.
Shake. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's go backstage, if you dare.
Are there any other men in here?
Well, no. This is the closet. Oh my God. Oh, you guys, what? Sorry. Wait, come on. I really am.
Is this a common
I am
occurrence?
mad about this because it's happened before, and but seriously, guys, don't do it again because it's weird, like Eve's here.
Okay, this is my dressing room. This is how I find mine, right here. I don't know who that other person was. Come on in. This is my bathroom, where I sit down and take a shower sometimes. Right here, like that. And sometimes I sing. I pretend I'm in Menudo.
Sean?
Yeah.
Steve,
What about that?
Oh my
God.
Could you hold it down?
Yeah. You guys.
He's helping me run my lines. I've got, the show starts in like an hour.
I'm sorry.
Heard about his fair play?
All right. Sometimes you guys need anything like water?
No,
or
we're good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Delivery!
You're on the set! Go! Run through! New pages, they're pink!
Call the office, you're fired!
It's hard to imagine that all this mischief is taking place just hours before the taping.
Okay, come on, you ready? Let's go.
And a half hour before the show, which I love, is we do a speed through, line through of the entire show. And we're all just crammed into the makeup room, and it's the last chance for us to get it all together.
Excited to be here, by the way.
It's sort of like a big toga party, because when we're changing and getting makeup changes, they play disco, and it's like we have a comedian, and people are dancing and stripping, and it's just very bawdy and fabulous.
I just love it.
I think that it's just the humor is like fantastic. The characters are really livable. I think it's really exciting.
I love Sean Hayes so much.
But just because the taping has begun, that doesn't mean the writing stops.
We have this great writing staff, and after each take on the stage and shoot night, we sit, we huddle, and say what part of that scene was flat.
We're also laugh whores. So if we can wring something more out of a line, we will.
All the writers scurry together, and they're all like, writing and pitching, and all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, they run out. They say, cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this. This is your new line. Say it out loud. You say it out loud once, go, action.
What about this music box? Where'd you get that?
Oh, I got that
When I was traveling in Madagascar.
Really? Yeah, what was the line? Alex, what was that line? Where'd you get that?
Oh, I got that with Big Kitty. They came as a set.
Jim's big thing as a director is keep the audience fresh. Some sitcoms shoot for like 6 hours, till 2 in the morning. We're out of here usually at about 3, from 7 till 10, 10:30.
Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause. Deborah Messing, Eric McCormick, Megan Mullally, Sean Hayes.
Coming up, the burning questions about the future of Will and Grace.
Eventually, Grace is going to have to fall in love, you know, and Will's going to have to fall in love.
Welcome back to Will and Grace Inside Out. I'm your host, Steve Kometko. Well, another episode is wrapped, and next week the process will begin all over again. So how do you build on success? One thing seems sure, the future is wide open for Will and Grace. And just in its second season, the show has already garnered numerous awards, including a TV Guide Award, a People's Choice Award, and 2 GLAAD Media Awards. With this much attention, it's safe to say the show's future looks bright.
I would imagine as the show starts to age, the characters will grow and new characters will come onto the scene.
Eventually, Grace is going to have to fall in love.
I see Grace getting married. She can be a very good mother.
I think she would be more of a single mom than a married mom.
I could see her marrying a gay guy.
That would be hilarious.
I could totally see that happening.
I see her moving. I can see Grace moving back in
with Will?
Yeah.
She misses him, I'm sure.
And Will's going to have to fall in love.
We want to get to a point where everybody, from kids to old ladies, are going, I just want Will to find a good guy. And then when those 2 guys kiss, that'll be fireworks.
Especially if Will's Mr. Right has a little star power of his own.
I love Joseph Fiennes, that actor Joseph Fiennes, and I like Ralph Fiennes. They would be good.
Hollywood-wise, big name, leading man.
Lou Gossett Jr.
Lou Gossett Jr. Do you think can we get him?
Hey, stranger things could happen. Just ask the fans of Will and Grace.
Newt Gingrich, totally.
Tom Selleck.
Like Will Smith.
I like Benjamin Bratt a lot.
John Cusack. Yeah, that'd be hot.
Oh, gee, tie between John Travolta and Tom Cruise.
Rupert Everett's definitely the hottest guy to kiss Will.
Oh, Rupert Everett, he is so yummy.
Tommy Lee Jones, my husband is gonna kill me.
In terms of Will and the kiss, and Will hooking up with the right kind of man, as I sit here, I'm thinking, Steve Kometko, hello.
Thanks for joining us for this 1-hour inside look at TV's most out comedy. I'm Steve Kometko.
Straighten up for you, pal!